that's what I'm saying. Like, at this point, like, I remember really key things, but if it's, like, a conversation that I'm like, I don't remember exactly what was discussed, it's because it was probably just bullshit. Like, just talking to each other. Yeah.
Small talk stuff.
Yeah. But I remember he was busy that day, and we didn't talk that much. And then I clocked out at 3 is what my time card says. That's what I was showing Mark the other day. And I got home to go meet my buddy. One of my good friends was coming over my house. And he actually has a key to my house, so he was actually there when I got there. And
who's that?
My friend Jim. And so Jim came over, and I got home. He was there. He had, like, just walked in the door. And I remember, like, briefly after he got there, I checked my texts. I mean, briefly after I met up with Jim, I, like, glanced at my texts. And Chris said something about, like, my family's not home, or, like, my wife and kids aren't home, like, something to that effect. And I told Mark, because he asked me for a time, and I don't have an exact time, but I remember it was, like, right after I walked in.
That was a text message, though.
Yeah, it's in a text, and it's, like, it was, like, briefly after I walked in the door, so based off how long it takes me to get home from work and when I clocked out, it was probably about 3:45 p.m. Texts me and tells me that. And, like, he knows when I get off of work, too, so he doesn't always bug me if I'm busy, so I don't know what's up with that, but that's when he sends that to me. And
so you're saying that he would have known that you would have had your phone available to you and not been at work when he sent you that text message?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
So looking back at it, you think it was purposefully sent at that time?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm just asking your feeling on that.
Yes, and then he said, "Call me when you can," and I was.
There was no other communication between you and him that morning on Monday morning.
Well, there was, but it was like random, like.
But nothing about this event.
No.
About, like, my wife's missing, or
no,
anything.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
And you knew he wasn't coming to the office because he had told you that Sunday night.
Yeah, and then he goes, and so, like, they're only in the office for the morning. Like,
right.
Some days it's longer than others, but I would say by a maximum of 7:30 every single morning, they're all gone, and they don't come back unless they have, like, a meeting or something that they have to attend. So, like, not seeing him for the rest of the day is not, like, an unnormal thing. Like, but like I'm saying, like, we don't really, the only reason we interact was kind of, like, by an off-chance thing. Like, I don't work with him. So he, we talked, like, randomly throughout the day, but it was really sporadic, and he seemed pretty busy, so we didn't talk too much. Like I said, didn't put too much thought into it. It happens all the time. Waited till about 3:45, then sent that text to me, and yes, he does know that I will be home at that point. Or getting home.
Did you give Mark Jim's information?
No, I would really, like, not like to involve him in this. He does not know about this. He was not, like, he doesn't know any of this is occurring.
Okay.
Like, I was literally
so he knows, certainly through the media, that something's occurred.
Yeah, he's,
with
like,
Chris.
out of town. He's probably has no idea. He doesn't know who Chris is. Like, he's not, I do not know.
So he's just a friend of yours.
Yes. He does not need to be
coming to your
this.
apartment and doesn't know anything about Chris. Does he know anything about Chris?
No, nothing. Absolutely not.
We've known Jim for years and years.
Yeah.
You're not dating him or anything like that?
No, he's like one of my very good friends. Like, my dad knows him. He's a great guy. He works out of state a lot, so when he's in town, we hang out. But when he's in town and he's off of work, to save time, I give him a key to my house, one, because I trust him and he's one of my best friends, and two, because sometimes he will just meet me there, because I'll be like, hey, I'm getting off of work, and then if I get stuck in traffic or something, he ends up, like, sitting outside of my apartment waiting for me to get off of work. So I'm like, here's a key, and, like, my dog loves him and stuff. So no, he's not involved with it. Yes, I don't even want him dragged into this.
And I'm not really concerned about your location. I think we already have your cell phone records. At some point, did Mark ask you to supply? Did they ask for consent to get cell phone records? That'll probably be done by warrant. If we wanted,
Isn't that what you just did?
Nope. What I'm talking about is your movement.
Oh.
By GPS or by cell phone tower to show where you were. Obviously, and I don't want to cause you concern, we want to know where you were that day too. you're dating a man who did some egregious stuff, and we want to show that you were never near him that day. Period.
I mean, you guys can track my stuff.
No, I mean that was something we will have to get a warrant for, anyways. I'm just saying, if we asked for it, would you have any objections to that?
No, you can have it.
So.
I'm a pretty boring person.
Well,
I don't
it sounds
go
like
too
you
many
just went to
places.
work that day, and then you came home, and you're there at 3:45.
Yeah, like give or take like 5 minutes. But yeah, so 3:45, I meet Jim there. Yeah, I would totally.
So Jim is understand from an investigative point, he could be a person who could say, yeah, I was there at 3:45. He doesn't know Chris. He doesn't know anything. He could say with one phone call, yeah, she came in at 3:45. Done.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't have to ask anything more than, hi, Chris, my name's Kevin. Or Jim. And I'm not saying you have to give it to you.
Just leave Jim alone. Jim does not need to be wrapped up in this.
If at some point I needed Jim's info to, let's say we couldn't find your phone records, would you tell me
can
who
have
Jim
them.
is?
I will give them to you.
Would you tell me who Jim was if I couldn't?
If you had to. I don't really want to involve him in this. That's not fair to him. That's not, no, if I do not have to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so anyways, Chris was like, call me.
And this is the 3:45 text.
Yeah, he sent me like a few. I think there was 3 of them, and I don't remember what the other one said, but something about like, yeah, my family's gone, or I don't remember verbatim, but call me when you can, or call me when you have a chance, something to that effect. And so when he told me call me, I was like kind of alerted, where I was like, okay, what's going on, you know? But first when he told me like his family was like not home, that didn't really seem odd to me that his family wasn't home. It was really vague. I'm like, okay, like, are they at the grocery store? Like, elaborate. And so, you know, and then, but he says, call me like it's like an emergency, but then just says that they're not there. And so I'm like really like floored by well, not like floored, but just kind of like, he says, call me, so I'm concerned. And then he's really vague, so I'm like, maybe he just wants to talk to me. I don't know. I think it took me a little while to like really process the severity of the situation, just because this is not something that you expect to see every day, and the way that he talked to me made me believe that this is not what was going on at all.
Okay, so you make a phone call to him and you guys have a conversation.
I did. I stepped outside.
This is 3:45.
Ish. I mean, well, like, I think I actually interacted with Jim for, like, probably a good 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, he's my guest. He's in my house. So I don't think I called him right away. But, like, I mean, I'm trying to balance the fact that I have my friend here, and then Chris is saying that something needs to be addressed. But to me, it didn't sound like an emergency. I mean, it's all the time. Like, people aren't home right now. You know, so it just... It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to take this call, it's an emergency. No. I mean, it was the way he said it. And I was like, okay. So I remember hanging out with Jim for a while, and then I stepped outside, and I made a call, like, out on my back patio. And I called him, and he didn't answer the phone. And then he texted me back. Oh, no. Did he answer the phone? I don't remember. I think he missed my call, and then he called me back. Or he just answered. Either way, it was a very short talk to him where he was just like, I have to go. The cops are here. And I don't remember if he said that on the phone or over text. I'm so tired.
That's fine. You don't need to.
But either way, like,
it's
the cops.
The context.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will figure it out. The cops are here. And I'm just like, all right. And then I remember we were we were texting, but I was like hanging out with my company, so it wasn't like a non-stop text. It was just kind of like I would check my phone every once in a while, and we would communicate with each other. And he was just saying like they weren't there, and that her friend Nikki was there, and that her friend Nikki had called the cops. And I'm like, why would this girl call the cops? And like, I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late, I don't even know what time, like 9 or 10, was all via text. So you should have this via text. Like, I don't think we started talking again on the phone until, like, after my company left. And he was like, I don't know, he just started, like, giving me details about stuff, and I don't remember what order, but he was saying, like, Nikki was really upset and that the cops were there and that they were like searching the house, and I was just like, what? You know, like what? Why? And he was telling me that they had like had a disagreement or something like that, and then he told me like she was gonna go to a friend's house, and I was like, okay, well, maybe she left, you know, maybe she just like went to her friends. And then I think I don't remember, but I think he was the one that told me that her cell phone and her purse were still there. I think he told me that.
He told you her cell phone and purse were still there?
I think he did. I don't remember.
What's the significance of that in your mind at that time?
At that point, I thought this woman was really trying to get out of this house. That's what I thought, because he said that they'd had a disagreement, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I leave my cell phone at home.
He said disagreement. What did he tell you what it was about, or
not at that point? Not at that point. So again, like, you guys are gonna have to check these texts because it's all like my brain feels like a mashed potato right now. But I remember him saying that, and I'm just thinking, like, well, maybe she was in a rush, you know? Like, maybe she was just like, I'm going to my friends. I'm leaving my cell phone here because I don't want you calling me. I don't want anyone else calling me. I mean, there are days where, like, when I'm outside of work, I will just shut my phone off. I just do it, and it's, like, my way of getting peace. So to me, that, I mean, like, it was weird that it wasn't even that weird to me that she left her phone just because I leave my phone, but it was weird to me that she left her purse. But knowing the fact that that girl was, like, always on her phone, then, yeah, I guess it is kind of odd.
Well, she lived on her phone, I think,
yeah.
pretty much, is my understanding of her and a phone. So, I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
Until prior to the media stuff, or just from Chris.
I did.
So, did that strike you as odd? But you're thinking maybe she just left.
I just thought she needed to, like, get away from the situation. I mean, that didn't seem that awkward to me, that a couple that is going through a separation would be like, I need to leave. I just need some space. Like, it didn't even, like, process. I was like, okay, like, give her some space, you know? And on that note, too, when he was in, we're going to jump back for just a second.
Okay.
I had a thought. So when he was coming back from North Carolina, that was when he officially told me we're going to get a divorce and we're going to put the house up for sale. Like, he told me they were separating and they were, like, going to put the house up for sale, but they hadn't done it yet. And then when he got back from North Carolina, that was when he was like, it was like a sealed deal.
Okay.
And the reason that is of significance is because at some point over the weekend, I don't remember when, he told me that they were putting the house up. I don't know if it was they were putting it up on Monday, like the day they went missing, or if it was that they were calling the realtor to verify some stuff so they could put it up that week. Like, I don't quite remember. I just remember, like, the house was supposed to be, like, on the market, like, that week.
Did he name a realtor ever?
Yeah, he did, and I don't remember her name. It was a female.
Okay.
And I don't remember her name, like, at all. I was trying to think of that for you guys not too long ago.
Is it the company? Do you got the company name?
No, he never gave me that. He, like, gave me her name, and it was the same name twice. He gave it to me once when he was in North Carolina, and then once the other time. Because I remember asking, I was like, who's that? Because he's like, I'm going to have her call so-and-so today and make sure everything's still good to go. And I was like, who's that? He's like, the realtor. It's like, oh. Or not today, but, like,
if it ever comes
Monday.
to your mind, just...
Yeah, I doubt it. That was such a... I will try. I don't remember who it was.
It's fine. It's not that critical. That person may come forward to us anyways, perhaps. So Don't worry about it. Let's go back to the phone calls on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so he's, like, texting me a lot of this information, and I'm starting to kind of freak out. And it's not like I'm freaked out like, oh, she got murdered. I mean... That is not what I thought. It's like, okay, like, the way I looked at this, like, apparently his wife had been gone since midday, is when she got, like, reported missing. I didn't know that. Like, the way I looked at this, it was, I got home from work just now. I mean, he didn't say that, but I interpreted, I just got home from work. And my family is not here. So when we're texting for, like, a few hours, like, the cop thing was kind of weird. But he's like, Nikki insisted they call the cops. Nikki insisted they call the cops. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm just trying to figure out, well, like, what role does this woman play in this situation? Like, is she...
Did you know who she was?
No, I don't know any of his people. Like, this has been pretty, like, tight wrap for a while, which is probably a really good thing. But anyways, I didn't know, like, who she was. And so, like, I started asking him. I was like, well, where do you think your wife is at? And he's like, I think she'll be back tonight. Like, I think she's, like, out with somebody. And he was telling me that they had a disagreement. So I was like, well, I remember telling him, I was like, you should make sure that you have wait a minute. No. So all that happened, and then it starts getting kind of laid out. And I remember we talked for text for a while, and part of this conversation, and then it moved to the phone. And I remember telling him, because he was like, I think she'll just be back tomorrow. I think she's just going to be gone for the night, like, with a friend, you know? And,
Did he name the friend?
No, he didn't. And, like, because I don't think, he made it sound like he didn't know, like, what friend's house she would be at. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, well, maybe it's that Nikki girl. And he's like, well, Nikki called the cops.